Hey everybody, it's Jack, and we are reading Dune, and we are on to the first chapter of Book 3 of Dune, The Prophet. And this chapter brings us to Giedi Prime. It has now been 2 years since the Harkonnen sneak attack on the Atreides in Arrakeen. And we have the Baron is rushing into Icon Nefud, Captain Nefud's chambers, where he, once again, high on Samuda drug, listening to the Samuda music. And we learn that there's been an assassination attempt on the Baron. And the Baron knows that it was Fade, his nephew and heir, who is responsible for this. And he's asking Nefud, where is Fade? Didn't I tell you that you were supposed to watch him at all times and know what he's doing and where he's going and what he is saying? And Nefud is starting to panic a little bit. It's only the effects of the Samuda drug that keeps him sounding calm. But the other people in the chamber are inching away from Nefud. And fortunately, Feyd-Rautha appears almost to rescue him. And the Baron explains that there's going to be some ramifications about what has just happened. And so the Baron is asking Fade, well, where were you? And he was like, I was playing, 3D chess with the slave master. And the Baron is like, well, did you win? And Fade says, well, yes. And the Baron realizes that Fade being cozy with the slave master means that the slave master is in cahoots with Fade. He's one of his men. And he notices when how Fade interacts with some of the guards, which of the guards are part of his little crew. So he instructs Nefud to go and kill the slave master, and when that's done, to kill the other guards as well. And Fade is like, yes, go do what the Baron says. And Fade knows, I'm busted. He knows. The Baron knows that these are my guys. He knows that I tried to kill him. And what had happened was there was a slave boy who had a poison needle hidden in his thigh, and it was designed to pop out and stick the Baron's hand right where everybody knows the Baron would put his hand. And but the Baron has foiled that plan, and the slave boy is dead, and that body has been removed as well. And so the Baron takes Fade off into his chambers to have a little conversation. And here the Baron really wants Fade to take over when the Baron is, done, when he has gotten everything that he wants. He wants to hand the kingdom over to Fade, but not yet. And Fade is, he's anxious to be in charge already, and he's still pretty young. But Fade is worried that the Baron may have decided that it's just not worth it, and he's going to kill him. And there's a nice little moment where the Baron is like, start walking and I'll follow you. And Fade is like, oh, he's going to stab me in the back any second now. But they're having this conversation, and Fade's running through his head. Oh, why does he keep talking? Why doesn't he just do it and get it over with? And maybe he does need me. And we learn that the reason that the Baron was not killed by this plan is that Thufir Hawat, the Mentat, formerly with the Atreides, but captured and now serving the Harkonnens, albeit unwillingly, warned the Baron about this plot. And Thufir has definitely been trying to work things from both sides. He's been helping Fade, but he's been helping the Baron. And the Baron probably understands this to a degree, but he also knows that Thufir is helping the Baron against the Emperor. And that's really what the point of this conversation is, where the Baron is explaining to Fade how much Fade really needs him. And it's because it's not just about inheriting House Harkonnen, but the Baron covets the throne and would love to see Fade as the Emperor and removing House Carino. And so he lets Fade in on that. That's the ultimate plan here. And Thufir Hawat is going to be our tool to get there. Because Thufir blames the Emperor. He blames the Harkonnen, but he's always been against the Harkonnens. And it's the fact that the Emperor helped the Harkonnens that really was the downfall of House Atreides. So that, at least according to the Baron, is what Thufir has his sights set on, is taking out the Emperor, and the Baron wants to use this Mentat to that end, and then get Feyd into that position. And so Feyd is slowly and eventually coming to realize that he does need the Baron, and they've made a deal that Feyd will no longer try to kill the Baron, and in return, the Baron will not only let him live, but will help him to get the ultimate power in the Imperium. And but as punishment, the Feyd has to go down to the slave quarters where he likes to hang out with the lovely slave women there, and he has to kill them all with his bare hands as the Baron watches, which Feyd is not happy about, but the Baron is like, there will be other women, but you need to learn this lesson. And so that's where the chapter goes. So it really gives us some, again, in case we didn't already have a good sense of just the brutality of life on Giedi Prime, and what it is like with the Harkonnens, and how they run things, and how they're not at all like House Atreides, where loyalty is just ingrained in how they were. That a lot of the top officers were serving in House Atreides because they believed in the Duke. They believed in the mission of House Atreides and the goodness of it and its strength. And but now all of that is kind of gone. All we have left really is Paul. And at this point, the Baron doesn't know about Paul. He does know that there is a prophet called Muad'Dib that is gaining popularity on Arrakis, but he's not worried about it. He's like, let the Fremen have their religion. It'll help us to control them. And he knows that Muad'Dib means the mouse, and so he's just really not threatened by it yet. So it'll be interesting as we move forward to sort of see how the rise of Muad'Dib and this prophet within Arrakis will manifest. We know that the Fremen are religious fanatics, and we know that they are quite keen to fulfill the prophecy of the Mahdi, the Lisan al-Gaib, their promised Messiah, and many and more begin to believe that Paul could be that figure. And of course, Lady Jessica has been exploiting that, and feels like ultimately it's good for them to think that, because it means that, she and Paul have a place in Fremen society. And if it goes south, they'll deal with it when that happens. But on Giedi Prime, they're quite ignorant of the developments of what's really going on, and we'll get into why that is later on as well. But I really like all the chapters that we get to spend with the Baron, and what I like about this one is it does show that the Baron is somebody who has his own plans within plans. He's not a cartoon. And in terms of adaptations, so this particular chapter was not adapted in the Lynch movie. There really was no Harkonnen versus Harkonnen element. We did have the Baron's plan where he wanted Raban to squeeze the Fremen, and then Feyd would be brought in as a savior. And so we had that, but what we didn't really have was this idea of Thufir, who they did capture in the Lynch movie. But they weren't really leveraging him. He was just a prisoner. They weren't leveraging him, and he wasn't scheming against them, working the Harkonnens against each other. And Feyd really wasn't so ambitious that he would take out the Baron. In the miniseries, we do have a version of this scene. So, and in fact, it was really well done, where they show the needle coming out of the thigh. It was pretty well done, and it was definitely Feyd's plan. Then the Baron caught him, and does demonstrate in that conversation why it was a foolish plan and why Feyd needs the Baron. But the idea of Thufir being at all involved, just not part of the miniseries at all. So, but we do know that Thufir is in the second movie, And it remains to be seen if we're going to get those behind the scenes in House Harkonnen Fade working against the Baron. I really hope that they do give us some of that story, but who knows? We'll find out when it happens. But I like that. I think it brings another layer to House Harkonnen, and again, it builds up the Baron as more than just he's not a buffoon. He's somebody who's got plans, and he is taking steps to see them realized. So there we have it. That's it for this chapter. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you again soon.